You know, Irv and from and I've got a chance to be in the studio and watch him work. He's relentless when it comes to that. Like he knows exactly what he wants and he's able to dictate. He might not be a player or a programmer, but he's able to dictate exactly what he wants to the musicians and to the producers. Yeah, like it's not necessarily what they want.
Real life. If that ain't real life,
If it ain't real life, just ain't real life street stars. You know what time it is.
Real life street stars, man. We back in it. What's up, Benzino? What's the
Man, we
deal?
back, baby. Everything good. Rook, how you, man?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I can't complain, bro.
How's everybody up there? How's the crew, man? How you
Man,
know what I'm saying? Everybody.
the crew is doing good. We got, it's me and Joker in here right now.
Shout out to Joker in the building, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the wifey, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right, man. Man, we had some bad news, bro.
Yeah, man.
Man, Irv Gotti, man,
Lost a
passed
legend,
away.
man.
54,
54
man.
years old, man. That's just, man,
That's
it's
young,
tragic.
man.
It's a baby. You
Right,
know what I mean? Yeah, man. Like we can't look at 50 as 50 50 years now, 50 years old back in the day.
right,
So it's just a tragic loss, man. Irv was definitely, um, as far as producers go, one of the pioneers time. I mean, I think he introduced. When I look at amazing producers, I always look at how they introduced a whole genre of music, a whole type of music, a lane, and he did that with Ashanti, with Murder Inc. We hadn't heard no music like that in hip hop before. He made pop rap dope. He made pop rap kind of dope. You understand what I'm saying?
right.
Zeno, let me ask you, when people look at when someone executive produce like what Puffy does, what Irv does, when they're not actually making the beat, what does that mean when they're
Okay,
producing an album?
that's a great question. Like what Irv will do, and what all producers, and I even do it. You call in session players. You have a guy on the drum machine. He programs the beats, and sometimes he's the guy that plays the keys too. Sometimes, but you call in different session players and different musicians, and you're actually humming to them what you want. You're picking the sample. Irv, and from and I've got a chance to be in the studio and watch him work. He's relentless when it comes to that. Like he knows exactly what he wants and he's able to dictate. He might not be a player or a programmer, but he's able to dictate exactly what he wants to the musicians and to the producers. Yeah, like it's not necessarily what they want. They can throw in, well, how about if I do it this way? But it has to be cleared by him. And to me, that's just as much of a producer. That's a composer.
There you go. And for our fans' sake, can you, before we get deep into it, let us know as far as what was your relationship with Irv throughout the years, whether in
Well,
person or far away.
it first started with the 50 Cent. I mean, our first encounter, which we didn't encounter, but it all started with the 50 Cent situation that happened at the Hit Factory. And when 50 ran down to my station, to my studio, Sony, I was with the Made Men. I ended up sending them off. I didn't know Murder Inc. and them personally, them. I had never met them. But it was kind of a connection that we had that night. As weeks was going on, Ja was beefing with 50. They had beef from Queens. I didn't know Ja, I didn't know 50, but they had beef from Queens, their own block beef that had to do, you know what I'm saying, with the Supreme Team and 50 and Ja. That was their thing. That was a Queens thing. That wasn't my thing. I mind my business when it comes to stuff like that. I'm a Boston nigga. So if it's a Boston situation, then yeah. But when it comes to that, I didn't have any, it wasn't, it was a coincidence that me and Eminem started beefing at the same time. We started our rap beef around the same time. And it also was a coincidence that Eminem had just signed 50 around the same time. What's even more of a coincidence that I had just moved to Saddle River, New Jersey. And that's, basically that's where Coy grew up. I mean, I moved right next to Ja. and Coy went to school with his kids, and they all grew up together, and we got, when I was with Coy's mother at the time, she got close with Ja's wife, and we all got kind of close just because I kind of moved damn near next door to him, a couple of blocks, couple of streets, and we just had a relationship. Then I went on tour with those guys, and I had Rock the Party at the time. It was my biggest song. He was doing a world tour, and Rock the Party was known all over the world. It was too many coincidences that kind of put us together. Now, Murder Inc. is a big crew. All right, you got your artists, there's Ja, and Ja got his kind of guys that he's with, and then Irv, and Irv got his guys that he's with. The thing with Irv is he gave everybody jobs. Irv put everybody on. All his guys, they all had jobs. It was a pretty organized ship. Um, he my relationship was heavy with Job, but every time I would see Irv, it would always be cordial. What's up, Zeno? They would call me Grigio. Irv called me Grigio, Gotti, Chris, Ja, everybody, all of them. So, I got close with all of them, including all the guys who wasn't the artists. You know what I'm saying? Um, we got kind of close in that period. And of course, I'm going back and forth with Eminem, and he's going back and forth with 50. So now I'm going at 50, and he's going at Eminem. It just was like crazy. It looked like it was like a tag team, like the Freebirds versus the, uh, it was like a wrestling match almost. Like it was us against them, and it didn't work. It didn't start out like that. It just all these coincidences made it happen like that. The bottom line was I ended up giving Ja the cover, and I ended up giving Irv the cover. The Irv Gotti cover was the last cover that me and Dave did before we had left the source. That was the
Wow.
that was a 192nd cover that we had did together over 18 years, and it was the last cover. We knew that that there was things happening and we wasn't going to be there too long. So, I decided to put Irv on the cover because I know he wanted the cover bad. He was going through all this with 50, and Irv is just that type of guy. Like Irv's what people don't realize. I remember the first time I really seen Irv physically was in the Def Jam office when he was with X and J, and they was trying to put that whole album together with X, J, and Rule, and Irv was like really proud of that album. And I remember talking to Leo, me, Dave, and Leo talking about it. It never came to fruition, but people just don't realize how influential Irv was, not just on Murder Inc., but on DMX and Jay Z and on Rockefeller. Um, you know, Major influence with a lot of artists over there at Def Jam. Irv had carte blanche when it came to going up Def Jam. Like Russell and Leo really respect Irv in a big way. They was bringing him in a lot of cash once Jar and Ashanti blew up and Murder Inc. blew up. But yeah, he was happy he got the cover. Irv liked to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? When I was around, always partying, I mean, him and Rue were like, like they party animals, you know what I'm saying? You know, of course, when they party and everybody, you know what I'm saying, drinking, the little dibber dads. The first time I really, first time I really, you know what I'm saying, see, like I had, of course, I knew about Molly, but you know what I'm saying? Molly, everybody was doing Molly and everybody was drinking and shit, man. And a lot of girls, man. When I look at Irv, how I was back then, I was a wild boy. You know what I'm saying? Like being on tour, drugs, girls, that's part of the life. And I think, the guys at Murder Inc., like they lived it to the fullest. I know Irv did. You know what I'm saying? He loved beautiful women. And I'm not saying this to disrespect anybody. I'm just my memories, love beautiful women, love having a good time. There was all, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, at 54 years old, and when I started hearing about his health deteriorating, I just, with me, I'll be 60 years old in July. And, when it comes to drugs, shit, I've done a lot of drugs. Growing up in the 70s and 80s, that's when the drugs first came on the block. And, you kind of did them just to experiment. Back then, we experimented. Thank God, I mean, well, this generation experiments too, but yeah, we experimented. And, you know, it's like, the thing with me is I always, before I stopped going off the deep end, I would just stop anything. and I would, get a hold of myself because it's easy to get hooked on heroin, on cocaine, on pills, on Percocets, on Molly's, ecstasy. Everybody has their drug of their choice. Lean. When I heard about Irv having strokes, I thought about the situation with Lil Wayne. I thought about the situation with Ross. A lot of I think about Mac Miller. I think about all these guys, and it's all leads to the same type of place. Now I know Irv had complications with diabetes, but one thing I want this everybody to understand, and especially black men and all men for that matter, you know, we got to take care of our bodies, especially as you get older. Once you start passing that 40, getting to them 40s, the things that we do and with the things that we put in our bodies, not just food, but the drugs, but the food too. It's poison, and it rears its ugly head later on in life. If you're not in the gym, if you're not moving around, if you're not getting that blood flowing, that heart takes punishment. And when it comes to drugs, it's either you're doing something to speed it up, or you're doing something to slow it down. And when the heart gets sped up and slowed down so much, here comes the strokes, here comes the blood clots. And, I don't know exactly what happened to Irv. I just know that all of us, when we're doing these type things, man, and you're having fun and you're using different drugs and everything, you got to make sure that you're balancing out with eating good, and you got to work out. It just can't be all about doing, having a good time doing drugs and fucking, women, and that, that it's fun, but it takes a toll on you. And eventually, when you see guys dying in their 50s of natural causes, it's really not natural. It's just all the years of punishing your body with, different substances.
If you were to speculate, and again, I don't want to speculate too much on his death, but on the way he lived, would you say he's, no matter what, at 54 and losing his life, again, rest in peace, but would you say he lived the life he wanted to live
Yeah.
based on, yeah, your interaction with him?
I would say he lived the life, and as crazy as this may seem, and again, I mean no disrespect. I think not so much suffering from the diabetes side, but Irv like was a party animal like a lot of guys. And I think, sure, of course he wants to live longer, but I'm just saying, man, Irv don't have any regrets. The Irv Gotti I know lives life. We have another thing in common, that we both beat Fed charges, and that that's a difficult thing to do. Like, he stood the test of time, and I have a lot of respect for what he's done, for what he did. I have I feel bad for his kids, his father. I always loved the relationship he had with his dad, and of course me and Chris are close. Me and Chris Gotti, and I know he's taking it hard. But we're all men, and what I'm saying, like, yeah, like, this industry of, like, you look at Diddy. I mean, and all the partying and all the drugs, Diddy's lucky. Diddy's lucky. But you would kind of see Diddy try to work out and try to move around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm glad we're having this interview, because if anything that I want to come out, this is like, we have to look at this. We can't just, get on post Irv and just say, of course we're all sad he's gone. Of course it's tragic. But we have to, as a culture, because we are close, and social media makes us close, crazily. But we have to send out a message, like, to take care of ourselves. You know, it's, believe me. I'm saying, like I said, people with money and partying and everything, not just men, women too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, hey, look, don't have fun and don't, you do what you want. Everybody does what they want to do. Drinking, pills, coke, heroin, lean. You know what I'm saying? I think, when you're an adult, you have to make those decisions. Of course, all those things are bad for you. All right, let's get that clear. But, I'm a realist. And if you're going to do these things, you have to balance it out with some type of workout regimen. And I believe if Irv had multiple strokes, then that's a heart issue. You know what I'm saying? And these are things that go along with heart issues. You know what I'm saying? Is substances and partying and not getting sleep and not eating good. And substance abuse. All that shit comes into play.
Right, right, right. What do you feel about all the stuff that 50 Cent has to say right now about Herb?
I mean, it's this. I'm not surprised at the shit he does. what's disturbing to me is this, is looking at the public and how the public takes what he does. And I heard a radio station guy on sports radio today, and he was like, man, that 50 boy, I pity the person who goes against him, and I pity, and I'm saying to myself, that's not the message, bro. No, that's not the message, because ain't nobody scared of 50. First of all, we all men. We all gotta go. Nobody's scared. All right, so let's get that out. There's no 50's not bullying nobody. You know what I'm saying? When you look at 50's, when you look at his when you look at 50's history, 50 ain't had no fight beefs with nobody. There ain't been no real violent 50 ain't really been in no violent situations other than the first time he got shot. But throughout the industry, he's had a pretty much smooth ride. You know, there's niggas out here that get it in, that get face to face and really get it in. 50 really doesn't do that. He does the trolling thing. And I think when people look at him, I think they get entertained by that, not knowing how would you feel if he did it to you? How would you feel if somebody in your family died and then he said the shit that he said about them, about your mother, your father, your brother? See, I don't see how we could be so desensitized and insensitive. Um, you know, when this is a man's loss and he got kids. Like, how the fuck you think his kids feel, and how the fuck you think his loved ones feel when you say shit like that? Like, you don't have to say nothing like that. He's gone. Like, you don't. And I was speaking on the shit that he does. That's why I'm not surprised at him. I know there's something deep rooted with him. So I know that comes back. He went through trauma. And he went through trauma before he got shot. How he was raised, he has a lot of anger in him. A lot of anger. And he has to figure out ways to push that anger out. You would think money would help and living good would help, but for some reason he still has no problem with tearing down black men. I've never heard this man tear a white man down the way he tears down black men. He has no problem doing it. My problem though, what my disappointment is with the people who follow him with the laugh emojis and be like, what's his zodiac sign? Like, he's a Cancer like me, and I'm not like that. But see, I had a father and a mother that raised me, and that's important. That's important. And I'm not perfect by any means, and I don't judge. But the shit he does, I didn't hang around niggas like that. I came up with some real solid niggas in Boston, man. And we didn't do that. Even enemies. Like, I've been through a lot of shootouts. I've been through a lot of wars, and we didn't do that, you know.
It, what was the rules? You've been through a lot of hip hop beefs, and Irv and Ja against 50 is documented. They said their stuff, but is there rules when you have this hip hop beef, and sometimes it's personal, but when another party loses their life, does it stop right there? In your opinion, should it stop right there? Like,
I think when you reach a certain age of maturity, there should be. Like, you can't be the same nigga you was. When you see the younger niggas talking about this, that's bad enough. You know, um, with the Chicago drill rap, because Lord knows, I take it there when it comes to battling too, right? But when it comes to dead bodies and kids, mothers, shit like that, what I'm saying? Especially dead bodies, like, it has to be when somebody's dead. I don't necessarily, but I know the type of temper I may have or the moment I may have, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, I give people their emotional time, but he keeps doing it. You know what I'm saying? He has no problem. He's doing it with Jay. He's doing it with Diddy. He's doing it with Meech. He's doing it with Irv. He's doing it with Meech's son. It don't stop. It don't stop. And I'm just saying, and I'm saying to myself, right? Back in the day, we beefed over money. You know what I'm saying? And we beefed, and we both over, but not. What is the beef? What is the issue? My thing is, if you get millions and millions of dollars and you making he's done amazing things, man. Look at 50's fucking career. I mean, he's done amazing things. And what is it about him that still feels like he has to disrespect? Because it's not rap battling. He's not in the booth rapping no more. He's just doing shit. And to me, he's inside so much to where is that he's on the internet so much to where he's looking at the comments, and that's what's validating him, and that's what's keeping him going, is these silly ass commenters. And he has to know that that shit ain't real. That shit is it's smoke and mirrors. He got to know that, like everybody else. Like, don't get too caught up into what you think people are supporting you, because that's the internet. On the outside, it's different, bro. It's different. These people who you are fucking over, they're loved out here. They're loved. Irv was loved. Meech is loved. Lil Meech is loved. Niggas are loved. So you make it a bigger problem. You spread it out to other people where it shouldn't even be gone that far, because you're fucking with somebody that people love on a mass on a major level. And I just don't understand it. It's the same thing I mentioned with Charleston. They're not the only ones. It's just that 50 does it such on a higher level, and he's so rich, and his platform is so big, it's just bigger. And I just don't understand, why are we knocking each other down so much on the internet and steady trying to fuck over each other, when we know who the enemy is and what's going on right now in 2025. It's just like, to me, niggas are fucking scared. They cowards to go after the real enemies. They'd rather do this bullshit internet beef shit. That's not, nigga. If you really want to beef, get down, nigga. Grab your thing and get down. We all gotta go. We all gotta die. So there's no fear in dying. There's no fear in dying. So if it's that serious, get down. Because things, I'm mature. I don't give emotional shit to things that ain't that serious anymore. I'm not doing it, especially on the internet. But if somebody puts their motherfucking hands on me, I'm getting down until it's over. So yeah, because that's the hood I came. That's how I was raised. I don't bother nobody. It's love with Zeno, especially now at 59, my big ass age. I love everybody, and I want to love everybody. Any past beefs I got, I'll squash them. I got kids out here. I don't want them inheriting no beef. I don't want motherfuckers running up on them, because Lord knows the heavens will fall. Like, I'm not, we need more unity and more love and peace in what he's doing. See, to me, New York fell off when 50 came with that beef and shit. That's when New York fell. That's when everything got divided and Atlanta took over. Atlanta was together, New York was beefing, and he brought that beef shit, and the DJs up there instigated it. Yeah, we're going to call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Look, I got love for Flex and all them. It's all love, no beef. But they instigated it. They instigated it. And no other artist really could get on because of all the negative bullshit that he was doing, that the radio stations in New York were just pumping up, pumping up. New York is trying to recover from that. It took the women of New York to bring New York back. Imagine that.
Controversy sells. Let me ask. When it comes to Murder Inc.'s legacy as a company, from the Bad Boys, from the G Units, from all these other entities, where do you feel Murder Inc.'s legacy lies from what Irv Gotti was able to build with that entity?
It can't go no higher. There's a ceiling that's people, there's no one bigger than the other. The Murder Incs., the Bad Boys, the Death Rows, the Cash Monies. I mean, come on. The fucking No Limits. These guys, the fucking Rap-A-Lots, these guys did amazing fucking things. These are street guys, not college guys, street guys that put together it's not easy dealing with one rapper. Because when you're dealing with a rapper, people think it's not easy. You're dealing with his problems and everything that's going on at his house. And usually, just like everybody else, they're coming from broken homes. We all are. So for all those guys to come where they come from and organize and make millions and millions and millions of dollars, that's not that's special. And he reached the mountaintop. Murder Inc. reached the mountaintop, just like Bad Boy, just like Death Row, and the rest of the ones I just mentioned. None of them's bigger than the other. I don't deal with that. They all black men that came from nothing, fed their family, fed a lot of people, and they made it up. They made it there. And God bless all of them. It's rough out here, bro.
That's real. And you mentioned that both you and him are noted for beating Fed cases.
Yeah.
Um, for the people that don't know, do you know what Irv's Fed case was about? Can
Um,
you
um,
reiterate for the
um,
people?
well, I know it had to do, of course, with taxes, but it had to do with a whole bunch of other stuff. See, the feds, the same thing with me with the source. W- Irvin was making so much money, and we was making so much money that the feds automatically think that there has to be drugs involved. Then they're looking at the guys that who are with us because the guys who we are hiring, these guys all got criminal records. So they're going through the shit and they're doing their due diligence and they're saying, wait a minute, there has to be some type of illegal activity in this. If we just fuck it, let's just throw it against the wall and see if it stick. And that's what they did. And it didn't work on both of them. They didn't do their homework because both of us made so much money that we didn't have to do that stuff anymore. They was too late. We employed these guys and we got them off the street. We didn't have to sell coke no more. We didn't have to rob people with guns anymore. We didn't have to fucking steal no more. We didn't have to sell heroin no more. That was over with. We're making millions of dollars with magazines, and they were making it with music. And they didn't understand that people from the streets who wasn't college, didn't go to college, hell, didn't even go to high school, could make all this money. Now they know because, of course, as time went on. But yeah, they was a little bit behind the curve, as they say. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up taking mine to trial and one. He ended up taking his trial one. Like, there's not too many people who could say that.
No, it's real. You mentioned Ja, Jay Z, and DMX. How close do you feel that album was? How close do you think Irv got to possibly getting that done?
It was too many egos involved. Too many egos. Too many egos. I know Irv wanted it bad. Too many egos and too much red tape. Irv's ego's big as fuck too now. Let's not God bless Irv, but Irv, boy, you know what I'm saying? That confidence was crazy, but that was part of the reason why he was so successful. Like you really couldn't tell Irv shit. I remember one time I was with Bobby Brown and we down in Miami and I'll never forget this. So I had rented out J Lo's house and me and my father was there. It was in Miami, and Bob and Whitney had came down. It was the first time I met Whitney. I've known Bob damn near all my life, and they had Bobby Christina. Man, God rest both of them. Man, she probably was about maybe 7 years old, the most 6, 7. And I remember we went out on jet skis, and me and my father had a small boat, a nice one though, little kind of motorboat. So we had Bobby Christina, and Bobby had the jet ski and had Whitney on the back of him. So we're driving around the bay. Of course, it says low wake. So of course, Bobby says, "Hey, he doesn't pay attention to anything." Bob's low wake. That's where Bob's going. You know what I'm saying? So they go to the low wake. They get stuck. So now they're stuck in the middle. So it's getting nighttime. So Bobby Christina's crying. It's like, oh man, we're trying to figure out. So we had a rope. We tied it to them. We went real slow, and then we're trying to pull them out the wake. And it's nighttime at this point. So now it doesn't even start. So when you're in the bay in Miami, there's big, huge, beautiful houses all on the bay. We pull up to somebody's house, and this is a true story. I couldn't believe this shit. So we helped Bobby and them, and Bobby, Whitney, and Bobby Christina get up. You could see the house. So the lady came. Me and my father are still trying to tie up because we would have to come back and get him in the morning. So we're trying to get all that situated. We're watching them go to the house. It's like they're walking through the yard from the water. They getting them up, go to the yard from the dock. They go into the yard. Big house, big glass. So a lady comes down, a white bathrobe. It's a white lady, and she's looking through. And then Whitney's like, "It's Whitney Houston, and we need your help." And blah blah blah. She let him right in. You could see the husband coming down the stairs, big white guy, bald head. Older. These are older people. They must have fucking freaked out. They let them all in. Me and my father still getting bit up by mosquitoes and shit. So they called a cab and ended up going to the. I think they went back to the house. We ended up going back to the house. The next day we came back. Both of some reason the boat and the jet ski sunk to the fucking bottom. I had to pay like $40,000 for that shit. So Whitney had called me a couple of mornings later and said, "Listen, I want you to meet me downstairs." And I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, I didn't know what was going on. Now, Whitney had a manager at the time. Now, at this time, they had moved to the Turnberry Suites. So this is probably about maybe 3, 4 days later that they went from J-Lo's house. I was still staying there, but I got a room up there too. So Whitney called me downstairs, went downstairs, and it was early in the morning. She said, "Look, Bobby was still asleep." I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was nervous as hell. She says, "Look, You're Bobby's close friend. He speaks highly of you, and we really, you know what I'm saying. Like we really fuck with you. You know what I mean? Whitney was real as hell. But there's like this white dude and shit who I guess was a manager. He looked like he was skied out of his mind. He was like walking back and forth, going back and around. So I'm looking at this nigga like he's bothering me and shit, but I'm trying to keep cool for Whitney. She's like, look, I'm getting ready to go out of town for a little while. I want you to make sure you take care of Bobby. When he wakes up, let him know that I left. I said, oh man, I mean, come on, this is Whitney Houston. All you can do is say, okay, yes, okay. She left, Bobby got up, man, he was pissed. He was supposed to go do the video to the song he did with Ja Rule. Remember the song he got with Rule? And
Yeah, yeah, on the helicopter on the roof.
thug
Yeah,
loving, the thug loving, so he was pissed off. So he was drinking. Bobby drinks brews like crazy. He's a brew drinker. So we ended up going down to South Beach. I let him drive. He was fucked up, man. We almost got into 3 accidents. Flying down fucking 95. We get to the studio. It's a hotel, but it has a studio back in it. So I'll never forget my man BJ from Murder Inc. They pulled up and was like, yo, we got a private jet, man. Irv we gave Bobby a bunch of money, a couple of 100,000, 100,000 or something to come do this video. Bob's like, I ain't going. So Bob's in the studio part. I'm at the front of the hotel. The studio's in the way in the back. So I said, I'm telling BJ, BJ, big nigga. You know what I'm saying? And I said, all right, hold up, BJ and shit. Let me be right back and shit. So I go talk to Bob. He's like, man, fuck that shit. I ain't going, man. I'm like, look, Bob, bro. I'm like, I go back out there. They're like, nah, man. They said, listen, we can give him as long as it takes, but he got to come with us and shit. So I'm like, oh man, I'm in the middle of this shit. And I just remember, like, they called Irv, and Irv, he wasn't happy about it. Long story short, man, Bob finally got on the plane with him, went and did the video. It was a famous video because Bob looked like he was wired the fuck up and shit. But, you know, I remember Irv kind of thanking me, you know what I'm saying, getting Bobby to I got him to the video and shit. Hype Williams directed the video when Irv was like, good luck, Congregio. And I was like, no problem.
no, that's true. That's a
Crazy,
crazy story.
crazy story, man. It's just, it was, back then, we was doing so much and everything was moving so fast, man. Like I said, man, when I look at Irv just he was relentless. He never slept. I know Irv's sleeping wasn't that good. He never slept. The man was in the studio. The man was all, and I'm telling you, he was a visionary. Like I said, there's a few motherfuckers who could do that, who can like Quincy Jones. Irv was like a baby Quincy Jones. That's a good comparison. If I compare to anybody to, Irv Gotti was like Quincy Jones. God rest him.
That's where you there's a video of Irv talking about how Jay-Z didn't believe in DMX. But Irv, he put his heart and soul in what DMX was gonna be. With you being a founder of the Source, did you have the same faith that Irv had in what DMX was when you first heard him?
DMX is the only rapper I could put next to Pac. The only rapper. God rest him. And of course, I got stories about him too. You know what I'm saying? But X is the only rapper that I could put next to Pac. X's stage shows was amazing with no hype, man. X was really out here in the streets. The shit he rapped about, he really was out here doing. He really was a street nigga. Like X really loved the streets, loved the niggas in the streets. That's what Pac was. They didn't separate themselves after they got so big. X's style was so aggressive and dope, and that's what Pac was. Pac had an aggressive style. You know what I mean? Like, then Pac got the movies, then X got the movies, got into the movies. When you look at both of them two, they I could rapping wise, I could put Ice Cube and Face up there, but as far as what they did in the streets, I couldn't put them. And Face is my man because both those guys went through hell. X done went through jail sentences and everything with his career. You got to think about it. When you're a multimillionaire and you go through all this shit, you don't have to. But that's your allegiance to the streets and the bond. And some people will be like, well, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? You ain't supposed to be back in the streets. But some niggas, it ain't like that for them. Some niggas, that's what they are, and that's what they'll always be. And he wore that shit, and he just was what. Honestly, I put him side by side with Tupac. That's why you really can't compare Biggie with Pac, because Biggie wasn't that type of a rapper or that type of a guy. More laid back. You know, you could put Biggie synonymous with other people. But when you put Pac was a wild boy, X was a wild boy. And to be a wild boy and be on top of your game, there wasn't too many niggas doing that. I can only think of them two.
Oh, that's real. That's real. And the famous Drink Champs episode with Irv, where he's talking about Ashanti. Um, he gave her masters back, but when you watch that, and all respect to Irv's wife and whatever other women he has in his life, but do you feel like Ashanti is the one that got away from him based on his Drink Champs interview that he just
Listen,
did last year?
nah. I mean, that happened. But listen, the bottom line was this. Shawnee, when I met Ashanti, her mom was very much in her life. And she really was like, Shanti was like kind of like protected, like, you know what I mean? Like she just wasn't no, she didn't have that hood rat mentality with her. She didn't have that street girl thing with her. She sung, she was very well spoken, very well mannered, very well brought up. And, you know, I mean, she fell for Irv. Irv's a wild boy. You know what I mean? That that never ends well. Good girls and wild boys never end well. You know what I mean? And you know, since they worked so close and she got all them hits, that wasn't gonna work because come on, there was girls everywhere. Like, come on, you know what I mean? You know, Shanti's the princess. You know what I'm saying? You got all these hood niggas, all these motherfucking gangsters around, and she's the, she's, and it was like that. She's like Snow White. You know what I'm saying? Around all the wild dwarfs and shit. Not saying that they small, but just I just look at that like, you know what I'm saying? It was just a big, you know, that wasn't gonna last. You know what I'm saying? Irv was too wild for Ashanti. But from what I seen, Irv was hurt. Ashanti hurt him. He must have loved her. He just didn't come to terms with that love. Because when you love a woman, okay, don't because Irv keeps that, Irv would keep that rah, rah, Irv Gotti thing all the time, 24 hours. Sometimes you gotta let your guard down when you're in love. And I don't think Irv, when I got on Love and Hip Hop, that's when I started knowing how to be vulnerable as a man. And as much as dirt I did in the street and much gangster shit I did, I always started being vulnerable with sucker shit. But once I really understood what being vulnerable was and how it made me feel after, and just it it freed me of all that tough guy rah rah shit. I don't got nothing else to prove. If I love somebody, I love them, and I don't give a fuck who feels that way about it. Now my love might be different, but it's the love that I've grown up and nurtured within myself, and it didn't matter who knew, and that was different for me. I don't think Irv ever reached that point. A lot of guys don't. They're just too hard and to kind of let their guards down to love, and I think that was the situation with Ashanti. But no, make
Right,
no mistake, make no mistake. Based on those interviews, I'm not a fool. You know what I'm saying? He had feelings for her.
right, right. Uh, what's your thoughts about Trippie Redd and Coy Leray and Trippie Redd cheating on her while she's pregnant?
Unfortunate, I feel bad for CC. I love her to death, and I want her to know that she can call me anytime, man. I just what I'm saying? I don't, what I'm saying? Like the worst thing, women that I've come to know this man and they go through a lot being pregnant, emotionally, physically. But he's so young, he don't realize that. I mean, you're looking at a young millionaire, a young kid that really don't even, what I mean? Everything's happening so fast and he got so much money at what, 25? Like, it- if me and Coy were, if we had that father daughter relationship that I wish we had, then I would have told her that. But not necessarily knowing if she would have took that advice. She still, once you love somebody and you feel for them, you feel for them. Sometimes you feel like you can change them. Sometimes you feel like maybe having a baby can do that. But um, experience is the best lesson sometimes. And she's very strong. She comes from strong cloth, not just my side, but her mother's side. So, she'll be all right. She'll have a lot of support for that baby. I know that. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what'll happen? But when it comes to him, it's like I can't be mad at him. I can't, you know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate. I'm disappointed, but you know, he is what he is. He's a young millionaire kid that has millions of fans wherever he goes. And at that age, you don't have control over your own self. You're still not even mature enough to have control over those things, over those lusts. So, I mean, what can you do, man? I mean, at this point, we just want a beautiful baby and her to be healthy. And yeah, just positive vibrations, man, moving forward.
Now, Zeno, the one thing I didn't hear you mention was that he was light skinned. We're some dark skinned brothers over here. I know y'all probably get it thrown at y'all about
Now,
10.
I be having. Listen, I'm be honest. I'm definitely the darkest light skinned nigga you'll ever meet. I never even knew I was light skinned for so long. I didn't even know what light skin was. Like for real. Like I grew up in the bean, and most of my niggas was all dark skinned, but I never seen it. I just didn't. I, what I'm saying. I don't think when you look at Trippie, his mom is darker shades than him. So I don't even think he thinks that. He just at 25 years old, man, you got women lined up for you. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be hard to resist for anybody. You know. So I mean, like I said, man, let's see what happens. There's still some months before the baby comes. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just know from what I see on the internet, but I just want her to be healthy, safe, you know what I'm saying, and happy. And that's all, man. That's all any father wants for his daughter.
No, that's real. That's a real word spoken. You had mentioned earlier, briefly speaking on 50 and the Big Meech situation. From your take, again, you're in this world. What do you see when you see, the Rick Ross Big Meech picture, 50 Cent waiting a couple of days, a couple of weeks to kind of do his, closing out BMF? Do you feel like Big Meech is being used as a pawn in a beef that he don't
Yeah,
even
well, I mean,
know?
100% at this point between him. I mean, I don't want to go so far as to say as a palm, but look, how I vision it, um, a blind man could have seen that 50 was going to get mad at the picture. When Southwest T took a picture with Cream's son, he got upset. Uh, that shit blows my fucking mind because this is a business, bro, and it's a small industry. All right. Now, I know when Meech took the picture with Ross, I know for a fact. Now, Meech ain't no dummy. I know for a fact that Ross was coming with a bag, and Ross had like, this is gonna be checkmate. He had 50 in mind. There's no question, man. There's no question. But at the same time, he's a businessman. He's very smart. You got to know he's a smart, cunning businessman. One of the smartest, Ross. You know what I'm saying? Like he pulls the amazing things off, and he pulled this one off. At the end of the day, this is how I look at it. Now, I don't know if Starz was going to renew 50 because that was all in limbo. Um, I don't know if we was gonna see Little Meech anyways, because maybe it was Big Meech that they was gonna start showing, and I thought that they was gonna start showing another actor of him older. So 50's gonna try to use it like, oh yeah, Meech, you took the picture with 50, so the BMF story's over with. I don't see it like that. And you know, Meech ain't no fucking rapper. This man just did 20 years, man. If Ross can't want to break bread with that nigga, then man, what like that's business. You're mad because a nigga. So it really needs to be it really needs to be a message to everybody out there who wants to do business with 50 is that you're not gonna be able to do business with half of the industry because he's not because like that shit that's immature kid shit. Like that's baby shit. That's like my man, this is an industry. Like, you know, Eminem signs you, bro. You got you got the luxury of all of his millions fans. Because if Eminem didn't sign 50, it'd be a whole different story. Not saying he wouldn't be successful because his music was amazing, but it'd be a whole different story. Yeah, Eminem's fan base, different story. So um, this is a business where everybody has to deal with everybody in order to make it work. That's what you want. You collaborations, networking. That's what you got to do. Now, yeah, you and Ross don't fuck with each other, but what does that got to do with Meech? My nigga. Like, no, that's whole shit. I don't give a fuck. That's whole shit. That's whole cake shit. He got real upset because, like, bro, like you didn't even 50 didn't even know Meech. But my nigga, you put him on, you put a story on. Whatever you thought Meech did still went on when you met him. You should have did your due diligence and made the fucking decision then. But you was so fucking fanned out of Meech, you want to bring the story and everybody you thought you was doing something good and you did, and everybody loved the story. But Meech don't owe you shit after that. That man's allowed to do business with anybody. White people don't do business like that. Like that shit is crazy to me, man. And now what he did to Little Meech is even crazier. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much, bro. Like niggas is playing with fathers and sons. Like we're like I swear our culture's fucked up because the people cheer for this shit and they steady be cheering on this shit. And the shit really is embarrassing and it really is unfortunate. The shit really is some real, it makes us look like suckers. Don't even make us look right. White people don't do this, bro.
Yeah, it seems like 50 trying to put a jacket of or trying to plant a seed of snitching. He's talking about some documentary with this Miss Corn lady. Just to putting the
Listen,
seed out there, trying to plant that.
look, I don't know nothing about that. This is what I do know. Meech got 30 years. He did 20. All right. Tammy Collins didn't do a day. All right. So, you know, I don't talk about things I don't know, so I'm gonna leave that alone and let the parties that deal with that deal with that. But this wasn't new news if 50 got it. That happened when you put Meech on with the show. So, you know what I mean? You're just doing it now to try to make Meech look bad, and it's not working. Meech is loved out here. He's making him look worse. And then he's doing it. He did that one day. Then the next day, you disunnerve the dead. It's like, man, people are starting to wake up to this nigga. He's gonna be his own worst enemy. And what he's gonna do, he's gonna get somebody else hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like he's gonna be out here pop, 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 pop. He's not. It's gonna be somebody else. Like you causing too much confusion and you got millions and millions of dollars. Like for what, bro? You talented as hell. Who would have fucking known that I would have saved you from the niggas who I ended up getting cool with?
That is facts. That is
Just make
facts.
no mistake, the nigga was bleeding and I got the nigga car service and I did it willingly. And the nigga was showing love. So come on, man. Don't that show you something?
Come on, come on. Now we have to talk about the Grammys real quick. And again, we missed the Source
The,
Award.
the Slammies.
Yeah, we missed the Source Awards first and foremost. But when you see Jay-Z last year kind of go at the Grammys for why Beyonce hasn't won Album of the Year.
And then he's there this year and she wins and she's like, bro, she should have got an Academy Award for that reaction. Let me tell you something. Again, Beyonce ain't going nowhere unless she knows she's winning. She's not sitting there watching other people win. Nah. If we know anything, the Beehive and everybody, she's not winning nothing. Nathan's hot dogs, unless she knows she's winning. For Jay-Z to disrespect the Grammys and be sitting there this time and then she wins, that was all a play. But the Grammys been a play for years. They could be bought. That's bought. That shit ain't official. They just want to get money. They don't give a fuck about us, the culture. They never did. If you look and see who's on the Grammys governing board, you'd be like, what the fuck? Do these people even listen to music? Like, bro, come on, man. Man, Grammys been full of shit. That's why we made the Source. Grammys know nothing about rap. Nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Not,
Niggas put
not.
on their best suit and ties and go tap dancing only when they know they're gonna win. When they're not mad, then they're speaking out against the Grammys. That's the fucked up thing about niggas. Every year, whoever's not winning, speaking out against them, and every year you see the niggas who was speaking out against them a year or two ago there. Like nobody gives a fuck about nobody no more, yo. It's self preservation, man. Everybody's saving their own asses and looking out for their own self.
Now, you're a music historian. You
Yes,
speak
I
on
am.
Pac, and you speak on just the from the '90s to right now. We're
Mhm.
not like us winning Album of the Year, a Grammy for Song of the Year. does that make this the greatest diss song? Let's say as far as monetarily, as far as
Yes.
the
Yeah.
worldwide spread, does this make this the biggest diss song, greatest diss
One
song ever?
100%. 100%. And it's only because again, it's the Jesus Christ theory. You get so big and people love you so much, your own kind is gonna turn on you, and then when you're gone, then they're gonna cry. It's just human nature. Drake got so fucking big that people were just tired of it, and this was just the time. And Kendrick came with the right shit at the right time. It had to take the stars to align for this shit to happen, and it did. But at the end of the day, Drake couldn't get any bigger. He just has to know that there's a ceiling in this, and he's went far beyond it. Again, to me, he's just relax for a couple of years and come back. It's music. It's not like these niggas' egos get so fucking involved. It's like, bro, you're filthy mega rich. What are you talking about? Now, I don't think Not Like Us is the greatest diss ever. I still think that goes to Nas with Ether. That's just my personal opinion, but it's gonna rank up there as one of the all time greats. And
Commercial.
and it was good to see it, regardless of how much I don't like the Grammys. I've hated the Grammys. It was good to see him with all those. It's good to see a street nigga get recognized. You know what I'm saying? He from the hood, he from the street, and all those motherfuckers are recognizing it. Regardless of where he from, whatever. That's a young nigga up there, the same nigga, same young nigga who's millions of them going through the system and they're denouncing unless you're catching a ball for them or fucking tap dancing or rapping for them. You know what I'm saying? He did his fucking thing and he represented, and salute to him. And I can't wait to see him on the Super Bowl. I can't.
Is he gonna perform Not Like Us? Do you
Nah.
feel okay?
Nah. They're not gonna allow that. They'll probably allow the music to come, the instrumental, but they might not even do that because they know people will say A minor, and they don't want a whole stadium saying A minor, so they might not be able to play Not Like Us. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. They don't want the whole NFL Super Bowl singing the millions and millions of people singing A minor. They just don't want that, and they know if the music just comes on, people are gonna do that. I mean, can you imagine Drake looking at everybody at the Grammy saying A minor? That's it. There'll be no more collaborations with anybody. It's over. That's it.
No, for real.
He's already shut down Khaled's ass. You know what I'm saying? And they was how close was they? Shit. Them niggas was
Now,
two peas in a pod at one time.
yeah, we got to get your take real quick. We in Dallas. I know you've had ties in LA for a while. You saw we just lost Luca to AD, and this is one of probably the biggest trades in our lifetime.
First of
Um,
all, yeah.
yeah,
First of all, the NBA did that. The NBA suffering when you get trades like that. That's the NBA moving them niggas. That's not the teams. The NBA is trying to find ways to get more people to watch it, and they're trying to make better teams. And that actually made each team better. You got to remember, LeBron's never played ever good with a center. He's never won those championships with a dominant center. He's always won with like a guard forward, which is like a Dwayne Wade, a 2-3, and he's always won with, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So Bosh wasn't that dominant center. He really was a glorified power forward. With Luca coming, Luca's going to be Dwayne Wade, and then they got this new guy, the Mark Green from Charlotte. Lakers are going to be all right. But then you go over to Dallas, and you're gonna see Kyrie with AD do things that you've never seen AD do in LA. It made both teams very much more competitive, and uh, the NBA feels like they have to have LA competitive in order for it to pick up steam as far as viewership. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, look at what they're doing with Kansas City. Shit. You know what I mean? The NFL knew that, listen, we gotta get Kansas City in there because we got Caitlin Clark sitting in that booth. We got Taylor Swift. They're sending a big white America message, like, white is back in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So I think the trade is gonna do good for both teams, honestly. They ain't gonna fuck with my Celtics, neither one of them, but
ah,
what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? What the
hey,
what
yeah,
can we say?
Dallas. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. Now I had a personal question I want to ask. You probably spoke on this before. But back on Love and Hip Hop, man. I think it was season one.
Mhm.
The jacuzzi scene.
I think that
Uh,
was. either 2 or 3. It might have been
Yeah, okay.
season
It might
2.
have been
It
two
might
or
have been
three.
3. It might have been 3.
All right,
Yeah.
season 3, you
Or
and
season
Kirk.
2. Season 2.
Okay, yeah, I know it was around 1 or 2.
Yep. Yep.
You and Kirk in the tub with Bambi at the time.
Right. Well, Bambi and 2 other Kirk was
So
in there with 2 girls, and I was in there with Bambi.
all right. For what Mama D said, for what everything was and how it is, and again, this is real life street
Yeah.
stars. Hey,
Yeah. Come on, man. I'm shit. We
um,
here, baby. Come on.
yeah.
Come on, Joe.
Did anything outside of what we saw on camera happen noteworthy? You ain't got to get too detailed if you don't want to, but
I mean, with me, I'm not the kiss and telling type. There's all kind of shit going around right now with me with people, but it's like we're all adults, man, and adults do adult things. We at the cabin. There's liquor. Everybody's feeling good. TV's going. People are on TV. The vibes are good, man. What happens after that is between us and God. I just know. Look, you know. You could tell in the tub, Kurt was having a great time with them two, and me and Bambi, we was doing our little thing, our little kissing thing. You know what I'm saying? When the cameras get off, you know what I mean. Sometimes the steam keeps going. You
hey,
know, it's hard. It's hard to shut the steam off when you just can't shut the steam off when the cameras go off. Steam kind of keeps going, depending on where you at. And they had so much liquor up in that motherfucker. I mean, I was toasted. I get on that Henny and man and turn into a savage, man. But yeah, it was a lot of things going on after that night. You know what I'm saying? But hey man, the funny thing is that like it still gets brought up. 11 seasons later, the cabin scene still getting brought up with Bambi. 3 kids later with Scrappy, this cabin scene still gets brought up with Bambi. Like
hey, man, exactly. It's a thing.
hell of a scene. Now, Kirk was married at the time, and he had 2 bad ones in there with him.
Man, hey, man, hey, salute to Kirk.
And Rashida was pregnant.
Yeah, not damn. So I'm curious if someone was to have a
Take the
spinoff.
heat right off of me.
Right off you, right off you. If someone was to have a spinoff, like either a couple or maybe 1 or 2 players out of all the Love and Hip Hops, who would you like to see have a spinoff show?
I want to have the original crew back. Me, Stevie, Jocelyn, Mimi, K. Michelle, you know what I'm saying? Scrappy, Kurt, Rashida, Erica, you know what I'm saying? I want the original crew back, man. Ariel, you know what I'm saying? If we could get the original crew back, that shit would be so fucking dope, bro. Because that's when Love and Hip Hop was at its peak. I mean, wasn't nothing, shout out to all the other cast members in all the cities, but nothing was bigger than us. You know what I'm saying? And I came from the Stevie tree. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I mean it was like 5-6 million people watching that shit. You know what I'm saying? This new Love and Hip Hop barely cracks 1 million. That's no shade, but it's just the truth. Obama and and Mrs. Obama was watching. You know what I mean? Like everybody was watching what we was on. Everybody.
Biggest facts. All right. Well, with that being said, man, we love to tap in with stuff like this, man. When the Irv Gotti situation happened, the first thing we thought about was y'all's relationship and everything y'all been through. The fact that you even went on tour with him, just you knew the man, and these stories is what keep his legacy alive and moving on, even beyond today. So again, we have to say thank you for
Hey
just
man,
coming on and speaking
I
on.
really appreciate y'all, and I love y'all, man. I love y'all's format. You know what I mean? Like we getting closer and closer, man. I fuck with y'all, and I just appreciate y'all, man. What y'all doing is dope. I know you're only gonna keep growing because I stay watching y'all stuff.
Real life. If that shit ain't real life, that shit ain't acting.
It ain't real life. Just say real. Real life street stars.